Hello everyone, welcome Burnsville. We're going to talk a little bit with the council today about what we're excited about. Burnsville being a vibrant city, boldly leading, welcoming to all. We're going to do that by reflecting on our strategic priorities. So when you think about our safety efforts, what makes an impact in your mind in the last year? What comes to mind?
One thing I've noticed, Gregg, over the course of the last year or so is the uptick in emails that we get from our Chief Schwartz of just general feedback from the community about their experience with our police officers. It's been incredible to see how many people go out of their way for simple interactions with our police officers to just say, so-and-so did a wonderful job, thank you. I love getting those emails because not only do we have well-trained, well-educated police officers, but they're humans and they're treating our citizens like humans, and that's, I would say, the most important part of their job is to stay diligent and safe, but humanize the experience, especially in today's, kind of stressed world when it comes to police.
It's a hard job. Be it a police officer, be it a firefighter, be it a paramedic, a very difficult job. And the cultures of those departments and the cultures of this organization that are set by your priorities really create the type of environment where we lead with kindness.
Our police with the behavioral health unit, because many of the calls that they were receiving, no one knew who else to call. There really wasn't anyone else to call. And so calls were going to police, but they were maybe mental health concerns or that type of thing. And they were repeat calls because someone was in distress, and mental health issues are often chronic health issues. They don't just go away because you want them to go away. And so they came up with this solution of, we're going to have our officers that are very focused on these areas and get to know these people as human beings and interact with them and try to find them help. Connect them to community services or county services or just talk to them. Sometimes that's all that was needed, is just a human being to treat them with respect and talk to them. So it's not a surprise to me that is something that came organically from our police department. We have police departments across the country wanting to see what we're doing because they're doing an incredible, amazing job, and they are at the forefront.
The benefit to this community and your commitment to safety is very much reflected in our full-time fire department with firefighter paramedics, certainly with the ambulance service that's provided within our borders as well, because our police and fire staff work together as a team day in and day out. One thing I think of our fire chief showing me a picture after one of our multifamily fires recently, this last year, of a firefighter who had just pulled hose off of an engine that was trying to put water initially on the fire, and he was doing it himself. And one of our officers came up behind and was helping him on hose. Right? That it's that type of teamwork. It's that type of partnership, and really, it's that type of commitment that you all have made to the community to fund a full-time fire department and a well-trained police department that work together to take what is a terrible day for someone and turn it into at least a positive experience with how they've been treated and how we've tried to help them through that really bad day in their life. When you think about the last year, what about engagement stands out to you? What about creating great experiences?
Well, I like what our staff did this last year, where we were in neighborhoods and having conversations with our residents about what's going on and hearing what they like or did not like about a particular project, and getting all of that feedback and then making decisions around all of that. But what our staff also did was allowed our residents and our businesses to go behind the scenes and see what each department does, so that they know, there's a lot of stuff that is, back of the house kind of operations. for instance, one that I was at and really just enjoyed people coming and asking, and that was when it was all about operations.
Yeah, this last
They
June.
did not know about all of the work that our BCTB did, or the communications people did, or the finance people. They were unbelievably curious about all of that. And the IT department and all of those.
The city clerk's office out playing games
Yeah.
with kids in the middle of a park.
Yeah, and how elections happen and so forth. But there was so much. I mean, last year we had Juneteenth experience. That was huge last year.
Well, it was, and as a matter of fact, first year of our Pride event, as an example, it was raining.
It was raining.
But we were shuffling tents around, and we were all dancing on our tents in the middle of a park in Burnsville.
And people showed up.
One thing I appreciated this year was, I always enjoy Night to Night. But the fact that we expanded that beyond just our police and fire to our public works staff, and we got more of our people out in front of people, I thought was a great idea. We had the chipper truck out and the water pump trucks, and that is one of my favorite events to go to, because you really get the most organic, comfortable version of people in their neighborhoods, standing around a bonfire and, handing you a plate of food. But getting all of our staff included in that was a great idea, and I would expect we would do that again.
It really is the benefit, Vince, of us thinking more organizationally about how we engage with the community. It's not complicated.
Right.
All of our staff want to make connections with the community, and it's important for us to be intentional and be organizational about that, to go out and do just that, and frankly, to get not only our staff excited about being out and part of the community, but getting the community excited about connecting with city staff.
Right.
I know it, and they show up to our meetings
Yeah.
and tell us what a great job our staff did, and that they appreciate it.
I just want to thank you for this. Is the
Because
first time I felt so
they solved the
invited into
problem
process.
in the community. So when we had the meeting, we didn't have to do anything. We just accepted what they wanted.
Well, and that's exactly why we've created our experience and engagement function,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't new employees. It was just
No.
rethinking how we
Yeah.
use our current resources and creating a team of people organizationally to help us all, whether it be public works, police, fire, our administrative functions,
Yep.
think differently about how we best meet the needs of the community.
The one thing also, since pre-pandemic and now after pandemic, is our festivals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it brings our community together to celebrate who we are, and to enjoy getting to know one another, and getting to enjoy the things that we offer. And they learn a great deal, we learn a great deal, and music always touches the soul, and food is always good for the spirit. It's like it's communion. You sit down and you share food with people, and all of a sudden all of those differences sort of melt away, and you're in a conversation that brings us together in harmony to just be.
I think it's a testament to the city's commitment to providing festivals that are truly welcoming to all. Madam Mayor, you started the International Festival over 10 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
And recognizing our demographic shifts.
Yeah.
In our 2020 census, we're almost 40% IPOC, people of color, and our school district is 62% people of color. So, I think having the International Festival really is providing something, a festival that our international community can come and interact with, and feel like this city cares about celebrating their culture along with everyone's culture. And I can't get away without plugging our Burnsville Festival and Fire Muster, adding an international stage to continue that effort, because we really want it to be more than one day. We want it to be in multiple different ways. And I know, I'll take the words out of Councilmember Gess's mouth, the International Festival itself is all about international music. Well, art and all that jazz
Yeah.
basically is an encompassing of that, because jazz can come from different countries and influence from different countries. And he's had some outstanding bands play at the Art and All That Jazz over the last 10 plus years, representing that and drawing a very diverse crowd to our park. So I think we're one of the cities that really is paying attention to our demographics and our community and working very diligently at creating festivals that are inviting to everyone.
So why is organizational culture important to you? It's different, council members,
Well,
than many other communities, right? This is different.
It brings you quality employees. It gets quality work done with quality employees, absolutely. I think it helps with the morale of our staff. One of the things, I mean, there's a lot of things that we should be proud of we're doing with the Burnsville University and all the different things we're doing, but the one that strikes me the most right now is how we've changed the leadership role in our city. Yeah. I mean, we are the council, and the final decision is always to the 5 of us, and we get that. But today, a lot of people aren't aware that we're actually meeting with our department heads and directors quarterly. We have meetings with, in fact, we all just had a budget meeting with them the other night again.
And it's not just quarterly. Well, they're in.
Yeah, they're in.
Family members. They're at the table.
They're showing up at the one-on-ones.
5 hours together.
Yeah, it's short 5 hours. Yeah. At least me personally, I feel like our staff seems to be a little more up right now. And what you were talking about with our chief and the email she sends us, and I love getting those things. I like it when Garrett sends us something about parks or taco trucks and things like that. But I mean,
who doesn't love stuff about taco trucks?
Well, that's the
Let's
truth.
be
That's
real.
the truth.
Taco truck.
That's the truth.
Well, and Dan, even the email we got about a tree that was removed.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
in our
exactly.
city forester. I mean, to your point, it helps us know that we're on the right track. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
for
it's not like we're trying to manage the operation, but it's good to know what's going on in the operation and what the needs of the operation are, so we can make good policy decisions for the city itself.
Transparency is stakeholders being involved, right? Just being
Well, that's
involved
one
in
way
the
to put it,
communication.
yeah.
We all have a stake in it.
We do.
We don't need to manage it. We just need to be aware of it.
And we do have a staff that's dedicated to service, you know, and they do such a great job. And they do always want to make sure that they excel.
When you think about how the city of Burnsville is structured to operate, right? You all are the policymakers, and it's our job as staff, my job in my role, to make sure that you have the information that you need to make great policy decisions. But also, part of that is being connected with our leaders, with our staff throughout the organization, so you can be part of that human experience. We spend a lot of time together. And that really is about building relationships.
And we feel very sorry for you on that.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Apologize up front and after.
Well, but the nice thing is that we're also all learning our lanes again.
Absolutely.
You know, policy, here's what, but you have operations and you need to make sure you get that done.
Well,
but it is about just that communication, not about policy, but it's about the human experience, letting us know. Or, you know, getting an email with a voice message from one of our citizens that went to one of our staff members and said, this is one that you need to be aware of, and listen to it and say, that's nice. Yeah.
And it really does reflect what makes Burnsville great.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about that today in your reflections
Yeah.
of our community. In your role as policymakers, it makes it very easy for staff to do the work that I'm so proud of, which is making sure that the community knows that we're here to take care of them.
Yeah.
We're here for them. We're here to help them. And even when it isn't necessarily a city project, we're still going to communicate because we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of what we've talked about, especially coming off of organizational culture, you know, it brings to mind something that has been used at the state level by, you know, some campaigns with the right goal in mind. But I think they may have actually gotten the idea from us recently, because I think what we are describing is one Burnsville.
What vibrancy are you most proud of as you think of this last year?
I'm most excited about the Citizens Code review. This was an idea that I got from another city council in Crystal, Minnesota, who had done something similar. And it's about understanding that our our community is made up of our residents. And so if you know, when you're looking at what city codes are, that's just the agreement we all make on how we wish to live with one another. So the idea being that if it's the agreement of our citizens on how they wish to live with one another, perhaps they're the ones that should be taking a look at it and saying, yes, this works, no, this doesn't work, or I don't even understand this. This is in like some kind of weird legal language that is outdated, and how could anyone understand what that means? Or this was great in maybe 1960, not so much today. So having them go through line by line and deciding, do we need this? Should this be updated? Can residents understand what this is? Can they easily find it? That is pretty exciting. That's a project that's going to continue. It's been going on for a year. It's going to continue for a couple more. And they're doing it in sections. And then, of course, because of statute, we will then take a look at it and approve it. But that is an incredibly exciting thing that really most residents in any city will never get to be a part of. But if you live in Burnsville, that's the kind of thing you get to be a part of.
When you look at vibrancy and what we're doing, you know, the heart of the city, when we put those design framework together, and now with the work that we did with Center Village, which is the Burnsville Center, the property owners were involved. Our community was involved. Developers were involved. Real estate commercial people were involved. So a lot of voices. So you had a huge brain trust around that engagement. And I think we came away with a very good land use and zoning and vision for that product.
I always enjoy hearing people's ideas of what they think should go in there, and you know, you've heard everything from Topgolf to Mayo Clinic in the Metro to, you know, everything you can think of. And one of the things that I get excited about is it quite literally is a blank slate. The owners have an opportunity to do whatever they desire with that spot, and innovation is key. If they do something that is new to the metro or to the state, it could be as exciting as it was when it opened. My wife and her family used to drive up from Iowa to go to the Burnsville Center when she was younger, and it was really a spot on the map. And I think we have an opportunity to make it that again if we get the right heads in the room, and we can kind of get out of the way or offer support and whatever is needed in that area.
I don't think we can leave this without talking about the new housing in the city. It's, we've had a really good the last few years from the developers coming out and creating a lot of really high-end housing for us in the heart of the city and other parts of the city out on 42, which gives us, our residents, an opportunity to move up if they want to move up, and people from outside Burnsville to move here. But the biggest thing I saw that happened from all that when we opened that up is the existing apartments all suddenly started remodeling.
And I think that's what vibrancy is about, and that's what our work is. Our work is to make sure that we have the right tools, have the right land use and zoning in place, so we can have the new housing stock come in, and then it forces the existing housing stock to say, oh, we better improve the product.
And we have a park virtually every neighborhood. I mean, just part of this discussion is the draw to come to Burnsville with new housing options, redevelopment options. But no matter where you go in the city, because of our parks per capita being one of the highest in the metro area, you can find a place to live, whether it's single family, apartment, et cetera, and there's a park a short distance away, which is a huge quality of life feature for families. And families are the ones that we really would like to see moving to Burnsville.
Well, why don't you talk about that Burnsville also likes their pets? And so talk about the
secret, the big secret that I didn't know about is that our ice rinks in many of these parks become dog enclosed dog park areas. They'll remove one in the summertime, in the off season. They'll remove one section of the rink fencing so you can come and go, and it gives you a very large area to run your dog or cat or your pets. And so we do have a dog park. It's a very famous dog park that's gotten a lot of press, and it gets a lot of traffic. But we also have at these ice rinks at various parks additional ancillary dog parks that are throughout the city. So a great family and pet-friendly city to live in.
Well, we mentioned this
And
before.
ducks now.
And ducks.
Yeah, ducks. We can have ducks now. Yeah.
And goats.
And goats.
I'm
We
just
need to up
gonna
our
say,
game next year and go to bison, maybe.
I like
An idea.
the buckthorn eating goats. But you know, our residents really enjoy it too, and I always know where the goats are because there are people parked and then they're standing watching
Exactly.
watching the goats do their job, which, you know, a lot of times goats have little destructive tendencies. So we have harnessed those destructive tendencies, and it really is an effective way to get rid of buckthorn, which is invasive and extremely hard to get rid of in about any other method. But the goats do a bang-up job, and they're super cute.
Yes.
We talk about our commitment to our roads and our bridges, but we also, when we talk about infrastructure, have been really clear to talk about our commitment to parkland and technology, and really a lot of the connections that we create for the community. So when you think about projects over the last year, what comes to mind in making those connections, physical or otherwise, in the community?
Well, I think our trails is one of the big things we did last year to connect our people who walk and people who bike throughout the community. And so we really, in that partnership with the county, and I think part of it was also with the federal government, to make sure that we build those trails, the Lake Marion Trail and the Greenway, all the way that, and now we're closing that gap and taking all the way down to the river. But what people need to understand is that each time it takes money, and we're going after money to do that, and partnerships, leveraging all of that for the good of the people of our city. So those trail systems, I think, has been one of the big things that's been exciting, and I've walked them, and I like them, and the thing is, it's a hike. You have to commit to how much time you're going to do. You can do an hour, or you can do a half a day if you're going to come from Southwest Burnsville, and if you're going to want to walk all the way down to the river.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and really being able to provide the opportunity for folks to make those connections, right? Different ways of not just getting around, but experiencing the community, meeting different people in the community.
One of the bigger items I'd say we worked on last year was our TIF district on 42 and our redevelopment of the mall, along with all the other redevelopment that's happening in that area. That's going to be probably our most significant piece of infrastructure from top to bottom if things start moving. And it's been nice to hear from real estate folks contact me about potentially moving into the mall. It's not something we're going to do, but it was nice to hear that they've got boots on the ground and that they're working to get things alive and back to normal over there.
If you head down to that, you can go to the North Burnsville, where the heart of the city is, and the framework that we did this last year has been great. I mean, we're really planning for the future. It's as we grow down there, and I'm sure it's not lost on anybody in our city that the heart of the city is growing like crazy, and it's going to continue to grow like crazy.
Well, and
It takes a lot, and it takes a lot of infrastructure. I mean,
Absolutely.
A lot of people have to understand when all that building happens, that changes what our sewers look like. It changes a whole lot of our services, and we got to pay for that somehow. And we've made commitments to make things happen down there, which has been great. It's going to be good for sustainability of the city, and of course the expansion of the tax base, which we're always looking for.
And we can't talk infrastructure without highlighting one of the largest single projects we've had in recent times with our brand new state-of-the-art fire station. That fire station is being toured and probably will be toured by other fire departments from around the state and around the upper Midwest for an example of how to do it the most safe and healthy design to protect our firefighters who, you know, from years ago in stories of firefighters who didn't have that sort of healthy environment have had to suffer the health impacts of the contaminations that they bring back to the station from really big fires. So very proud of that, and obviously we're looking at the study to do fire station number 2 and renovate that to bring that to a healthy environment for those firefighters. So I'm delighted to hear from our Fire Chief B.J. Jungmann that he's already had many tours, and there's a lot more scheduled as the press gets out about this remarkable product. And as an aging community, or at least I'm aging in this community, good, fast, and response time is very key. And obviously, you know, we want those first responders and our public safety department to be to have the tools they need, but the healthy environment, because the firefighters live in their shifts in that building for a few days at a time. So
happy EMS drivers also makes a difference too. So if they're getting the things they need from their station, it helps us from a recruitment standpoint and many other things that building is bringing us.
I always enjoy going to Fire Station 1 now, right? I'll make it a point to schedule meetings over there because it's great to see that well-being in action, right? Whether it be our firefighter paramedics or our administrative staff who are over there, it really has made a significant difference in how they can take care of themselves, but also how they take care of the community, which again, that's what these connections are all about. What comes to mind when you think of sustainability in Burnsville over the last year?
One of our initiatives was our food forest and our market garden project. That was something that we looked at a few years ago, but we just didn't have things in place to make it happen then. But thanks to staff really working on it, and our mayor, of course, always being excellent at finding grants and grant opportunities.
And money wherever we can find it.
Exactly. She's always looking in the couch cushions. She found it. We were able to create a food forest. And that starts to change how people interact with their environment. That's also something that helps with food deserts. It's teaching our kids about where our food comes from and how to care for it. So that was something extremely exciting to see this year.
When I think about sustainability, I think about the sustainability of our neighborhoods. And this year, I think we did something really great. We put that Cash for Code in place this year so we can help our neighbors fix their homes, get them up to code. You know, strong neighborhoods in a city always mean strong business in a city, and we have to take care of it. And so I know people always look at the environment as sustainable, but you also have to look at the city itself as being sustainable.
And from a cost-saving perspective, I've really liked the approach of taking the unused areas of our parks that we've committed resources to mowing and maintenance and finding new ways to integrate pollinators and other things and otherwise unused parts of our parks. That's been a really nice part of this plan that I've enjoyed seeing.
Absolutely.
Savanna restoration, I think, is what we call it.
Yep.
But the other nice thing, to just add to your comments, Councilmember Schultz, is that people don't have to ask us if they want to pick the fruits from the trees that we have. Nope. This belongs to all of us, and they can come and pick what they want and so forth. But I do like that this last year we focused on food desert and making sure that our people have food available to them, fresh food, because this is important for the health. We talk about a healthy community. That's one of the things. But most importantly, let's make sure that everybody understands that sustainability is a much broader umbrella for our community. And that's been exciting, and especially for the hard work that we all did, the council and staff, in really identifying our vision for the future and also our priorities and our values, because that's what has culminated and resulted to all of the wonderful accomplishments that we did last year. So it's exciting.
Absolutely. Well, the sustainability really is let our staff live out our value of innovation, right? You look at being able to walk through at Art and all that jazz, walk through Nicollet Commons Park and pick fruits and vegetables to eat, right?
Yeah.
I discovered tomato plants there last year.
Right? My kids
didn't even
asked
know
me
they
if
were
they
there.
could pick one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a great example.
Well, I'll bring up the recycling angle. For me, it actually, just a quick story, it started when I was 7 or 8 years old, and we were on a, which is, what, about 10 years older than, or is it 10 years younger than you are now? When I
Gotta get to bed soon.
The age joke had to happen.
That's right. We were on an annual fishing trip in Florida, and as a 7 or 8 year old, it was always fun to go out on these big deep sea fishing boats, and I witnessed all of the styrofoam plates, cups, being dumped over the back of the boat, leaving a trail of styrofoam in the ocean. And I stood there as a young kid not understanding that much about recycling at that age, but I definitely knew that was wrong. And I went and told my father, and he went and talked to the captain, and we chose to go to a different fishing company the following year, and he became active in asking, what are you doing with your garbage? Are you bringing it back on land and disposing of it properly? And so that really planted something in my head. And so over the years when I got on council, in the early years, we were trying to get recycling in the parks. So we spent some money. It took obviously some years to integrate that into all the parks and expand it, but I'm proud to say that we are recycling in our parks. And then the culmination is that you mentioned, Madam Mayor. My wife and I have been looking for organics recycling for a long time. She really led it, the effort in the household, and as soon as our organics recycling bin opened up, she might have been the first person to bring a bag of organics there, and so it really cuts down on the amount of garbage going into the landfill. Obviously, organics are great fertilizer, and on the recycling, just as to me, it's a no-brainer. To be able to put those things back into recycle and put them into use, and it's all about saving the earth for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. And as a grandparent, that point is driven home every time I see my grandchildren, that I want an earth that I adopted, right? When I was young and that age, that's the kind of world that I want to pass along to my grandkids.
Really taking care of what we have.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for taking the time to do this. Your commitment to the community is important, and it makes a difference. So thanks for talking today.
It was great.
Thank you to our community for letting us serve you and letting us do your work with you.